Day to you all. Good day. And also, wassail. Good health. I'm your host, Tia here at Northworthy Sagas and Stories. Please feel free to leave a comment. Don't forget to smash the like button and follow us on Twitter and read it. Now then, many are the tales of the nightmare, the she-demon, who takes the form of a mare, a great black horse, that can also change its appearance into that of either a beautiful girl or a hideous hag. The nightmare, or Mara, as it's also known, will come upon sleepers in the night, paralyzing them, then suffocating them and crushing the life from their victims. In this way, one is said to be ridden by the Mara. However, sometimes a nightmare is not always a nightmare, as this story from Ramsburg in Sweden makes plain. There was a village where the richest man kept many horses, and he employed a number of staff to look after them and his wide estates. There was a stable lad who had to look after the horses day and night to make sure they were in the best of condition, well fed and groomed. However, one morning, the stable boy, well, he looked at the best mare, and the mare was in a terrible condition. It was sweating, lathered in foam, and it was shaking as if it had been going through some terrible exertion in the night. Now, this was very strange, because it seemed as though the animal had been bothered, perhaps, by a male, in the kind of way that normally only happened when the animals were in season. However, all the stallions, well, they'd been securely tethered, and so it couldn't possibly have been any of them. And the next morning, matters were still the same. The mare was there in its stall, shaking and pouring with perspiration. Finally, the landowner came to the stable boy and said, "We clearly have a problem here, but for the life of me, I can't imagine what it might be. Still, I'm paying you good money to look after them, and if you can possibly solve this problem for me, well, I'll appreciate it very much. I'll show you my gratitude in good silver." So the stable lad was only too keen to oblige. So he went for advice to his family. And his kinfolk, well, they couldn't think of an answer to the problem. However, his uncle suggested that he try the wise woman, the Sparkona, who lived not far away from the other houses. And first thing in the morning, he went to her. He found her outside on the trance platform, high up on a wooden scaffold built of wooden planks. She sat there, the shamaness, cross-legged, with a blindfold over both eyes. And very respectfully, he went and called out to her, and before too long, she acknowledged him. She took off the blindfold, climbed down from the platform, and regarded him coolly. She made an imposing sight, wrapped in fur, wearing cat skin gloves. The stable boy described the problems he'd had and the condition of the mare every morning. "I'm beginning to think," he said to her, "that the problem may be a nightmare. I can't think of anything else that could be causing all this trouble." She looked at him enigmatically, and all a wise woman would say was that the truth would reveal itself in time. Unfortunately, the stable lad didn't find this very helpful. So he went back to his workplace and he thought some more. And then inspiration struck him. He found some scythe blades and he took them off their wooden shafts and he tied them on to the mare's harness so that they stuck up from the horse's back, each curving blade gleaming. And then he went to bed, thinking that he'd solved the problem. But the next morning, the landowner was surprised, for the stable boy was nowhere to be seen. And then he went into the stables, and there, right next to the mare, was the body of the stable lad. And it was all cut up from those wicked curving scythe blades. He'd impaled himself upon them in the night. For after all, as I'm sure you can tell by now, the answer was clear. It was the stable lad who'd been the cause of the trouble all the time. For he was the nightmare. In fact, he was a night stallion and never knew it. And that's the end of the story. Thank you very much for listening.